72 hours. That is exactly how long Anthropic's most powerful public AI models lasted in the wild before the US government pulled the plug. Over the weekend, enterprise networks globally were abruptly disconnected from the frontier. On June 9th, Anthropic launched Fable 5 and Mythos 5, their most capable models yet. Developers spent 3 days migrating their production pipelines. Then, on June 12th at 5:21 p.m., to comply with federal orders, Anthropic abruptly disabled them globally. The blackout was executed by the U.S. government using a specific legal mechanism, an export control directive. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick personally issued this directive, sending a formal letter to Anthropic's CEO demanding an immediate halt to foreign distribution. For anyone building software right now, the lesson is blunt. Access to a frontier AI model is no longer a standard technical upgrade. It is a fragile geopolitical variable that can vanish without warning. The administration's rationale centers on a contested jailbreak. According to officials, a credible third party demonstrated a way to bypass the safeguards on Mythos-class models. Because that bypass touches cybersecurity, the government is applying a zero-tolerance posture. A frontier model with any security flaw is treated as a severe national security problem until proven otherwise. Anthropic is complying with the recall, but CEO Dario Amodei and his team have made clear they strongly disagree with the severity of the decision. They point out that the evidence they received describes a narrow, non-universal exploit. In practice, the jailbreak essentially amounts to asking the model to read a specific codebase and fix its existing flaws. Anthropic notes that this exact same capability is already widely available. You can do this routinely with older, publicly available models like OpenAI's GPT 5.5. Furthermore, thousands of hours of pre-launch red teaming with international AI safety institutes turned up absolutely no universal vulnerabilities that would broadly unlock the model's most dangerous capabilities. For developers, it does not matter who is right about the jailbreak. The structural precedent is set. The U.S. government can use opaque national security rationales to yank your tech stack offline in a matter of hours. This forces a new calculation for enterprise architects. You have to weigh the allure of marketing promises against the very real threat of sudden downtime. Government scrutiny does not distribute evenly. It concentrates exactly where capability is highest, making the smartest models the primary targets for intervention. Let's look at a comparison matrix of the actual trade-offs. If you wire your production pipeline to hard depend on a brand new frontier model like Fable 5, you instantly secure maximum coding prowess and advanced reasoning for your product. But you also expose your entire product to extreme structural fragility. You take on the risk of zero-notice, total product downtime. The alternative strategy relies on building an abstraction layer and deliberately defaulting to the tier directly below the bleeding edge. You sacrifice some top-end performance, but you guarantee business continuity and shield your workflows from sudden national security orders. Building on the absolute frontier buys you raw power, and it inherently sells you fragility. The capability trap is only half the problem. This directive also introduced immediate, non-technical barriers to entry, specifically around geography and compliance. Because the government used an export control directive, the ban instantly applied to any foreign national anywhere in the world. If you are a German publisher or an American company relying on developers in India, your team was legally locked out of their own product's backend the moment that letter was signed. Then there is the second major compliance hurdle unique to these new models, Anthropic's mandatory 30-day data retention policy. Anthropic implemented this as a defense-in-depth strategy, arguing that keeping query data for a month is necessary to detect and investigate exactly the kind of malicious attacks the government is worried about. The commercial consequence was massive. Microsoft immediately advised its employees against using Fable 5 for any internal business data. For European firms bound by strict privacy laws, or any enterprise with regulated workflows demanding zero data retention, this policy effectively illegalizes the model. Utilizing top-tier AI forces you to treat team nationality and strict data compliance as immediate gating factors for procurement. If you are attempting to operate at scale in this environment, your engineering architecture has to adapt immediately. This flow diagram outlines the required defensive posture. You can no longer hard-code applications to a specific API. Every AI query must be routed through a central node. You need a graceful degradation protocol, keeping a fallback model wired in, ready to take over instantly. The irony here is that Opus 4.8, The slightly older, less capable model is the exact same fallback that Anthropic's own safety systems rely on. The most resilient architectural choice you can make today is deliberately building for the tier right beneath the frontier. We can map this on a decision tree to determine if you should return to Fable 5 or permanently default to Opus 4.8. First, is your core team or user base outside the United States? If yes, route directly to the subfrontier. Second, does your enterprise workflow legally require zero data retention? If yes, you are out of the running for Fable. Third, can your business survive 24 hours of unexpected API downtime? If uptime is mission critical, the bleeding edge is too risky. The only group for whom the frontier is still viable are US-based internal R&D teams running experimental workflows that can afford sudden downtime. The frontier just got a geopolitical kill switch. Going forward, your system architecture has to treat API access as a matter of jurisdiction, not just cost and capability.